Millennials here, Arsenal fan. They wanted Lisandro Martinez. They've missed out on him to Manchester United. What are you saying, Samuel?
You know what, Terry? I'm looking at the potential fee right now of 42 million pounds for him to Man United, and the reason we were signing Lisandro Martinez was to be a backup left back and compete with Tini, and even be a backup left back to Gabriel. But I think that sort of transfer fee right now, I don't really see us paying that fee, because I think there's other players in the market that we could strengthen, and that big sum of money could go to a potential winger. Even like you said, Paqueta. I don't know. I have maybe you could tell me something about Paqueta, Terry, if there's anything on that, if it's true or not. Yuri Tielemans and potentially Alejandro Grimaldo from Benfica, which has been linked. I think. Listen, one thing I've been seeing rivals say about Lisandro Martinez is his height. But I think I'll tell you something about Argentinian centre backs. You know, there's been short Argentinian centre backs, like Mascherano, and I think Ayala. He played for Valencia in the early 2000s. I think those are two sensational centre backs who weren't really. They were around the same height as Lionel Messi, I think, with Ayala being 5'10", and they were still two world class centre backs. So I don't think height really matters. I think it is an outdated opinion on centre backs. You know, thinking about height in the Premier League, it's about the ability with their feet. Because like you mentioned earlier about centre backs back in the day, like your Adams, like your Flanders, they wouldn't really be what they were in this type of game, because football has evolved since then. You know, football is a constantly changing game. Every 2 years, football changes. A manager innovates a new idea. So as of right now, Ten Hag is an innovative manager. He plays this new style of football, which is playing out the back, which is being good in the feet. And that's why I tell you, as a Man United fan, I have no clue why you're still keeping David De Gea. I know it's about Martinez, but I'm going to switch it up to De Gea because I'm going to run a De Gea agenda. Why is David De Gea still there when he is so inept at playing his feet? There's so many other goalkeepers who are good with their feet.
Let me ask you so you, again, it's a fair question, but your timing's off. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand where I'm coming from with that?
Yeah, of course.
We were never going to get... There are loads of players that either need to improve individually or be sold and better players brought into the club. But let me ask you this question. You know your squad as you go into the start of this season, how many years has Arteta been here?
About 2.5.
And how many players... Out of your main 13, 14 players that will start games next season, how many were here when Arteta took over?
2, at least 2 or 3.
It's taken him, 3 or 4? Well, if you look at all the windows, how many windows? Yeah, 6, 7 windows, 6, 7 transfer windows, and he's finally good. Hopefully, going to have his own team now. Yeah. The expectation should be no different from Manchester United. We were never going to get rid of everybody that's deemed substandard this summer and go out and buy 15, 16, 17, 18 new players. People like De Gea, Luke Shaw, Rashford, Bruno, Donny, as examples, you can get probably for a year to 2 years a tune out of them with a brilliant coach. Just like Jurgen Klopp did when he inherited that Liverpool team. He was getting them to play very good football almost straight away. They got to a cup final year 1, but he just slowly sort of chipped away at the old players and brought in his new individuals. That's why, like, to answer your question, it's a fair challenge, but we would never get rid of that. You don't want to add a goalkeeper replacement issue to the same summer as trying to restock the midfield, improve the defensive areas, and now also maybe having to improve the attacking areas with Ronaldo leaving. Of course, another spanner in the works was Mason Greenwood, of course.
In the Man United fan base, I don't think I've seen a player more divisive than De Gea, because you have one side who were pro Henderson, and there's other side, who want De Gea out. But there's the ones that you've had arguments with, these type of people, with the trophy merchants and the Jose lovers, who absolutely adore De Gea because he won the Premier League 10 years ago, which I think is so ridiculous to have De Gea there. You know who I'm talking about, Terry?
Well, the one thing with David De Gea is this, though. When it comes to the Premier League, he's still one of the best goalkeepers around. Is he as good with his feet as you would want him to be? No. But again, it's one game. I'm not going to judge anybody after one game. But we all saw improvements in him yesterday. Why? Because the coaching drills and the training is a little bit different. I think for a year or two, you can get a tune out of him. But what he gives you is generally speaking, a very stable and top-level goal scorer, one of the best shot stoppers Man United have ever had in your goal, and that's important. If we had a brilliant defence already, a world-class midfield, and a decent attack, we probably would have gone to replace him straight away. But there were I think there's other glaring issues with this squad that need to be addressed first. It's not deep. It's just the reality of the matter.
Listen, I think I get what you mean by that. I think right now it's not a top. It is a concern, but as of right now, you can focus on that in the future. As of right now, there's bigger gaping holes in the Man United squad, and I think it's interesting to see where Ten Hag goes with this. Personally, I think the defense was the main issue because conceding 54 goals for Manchester United is unacceptable compared to 3 years ago where you conceded 28 goals in the Premier League season. So I think that is the main priority for Ten Hag. And I just want to go slide over to Sterling, right? I think this is a very big test for Raheem Sterling because he's always, many people have criticized Sterling. I think Sterling was one of the most underrated players in Premier League history. I don't know why Man City fans think he's not a legend. He is a clear Man City legend because I'm going to pull this stat up. I think you mentioned it in the show, I'm not sure. But only 2 players on the Pep Guardiola system have scored more than Raheem Sterling. That number 2 is Sergio Aguero. Number 1 is Lionel Messi. I mean, that shows speaks volumes of how good Raheem Sterling is. But there is critics, of course, who saying the reason Raheem Sterling was so good for all these years at Manchester City is because of the Pep system, what Pep did. So there is a lot of doubters, and I think the Chelsea move is the absolutely right move. And now, I mean, I know Chelsea. Is there another winger Chelsea are looking at? Because I know they were in for Rafinha. They were also in for Dembele, but both of them have somehow gone into Barcelona. I don't know how they pulled this off. Maybe there is something fishy going on there that the Barcelona is doing to get those 2 players. But I'm looking at now Serge Gnabry. I mean, is he a backup option? But really, I mean,
look, this thing about a player being a system player, you could theoretically label it at anyone. Arteta has a system, right?
Yeah.
Saka's not a good player. He's a system merchant. He's only good because of the system.
You
no, can do. People think the problem is that people. It's a very good challenge to a player not being that good because it's hard to debunk. The problem is people are now using it regularly for lots of players, and the more you use it, the more you dilute it as an argument. Because Salah's a system merchant, Trent's a system merchant. I've seen people say the same thing about Raheem Sterling's a system merchant, but we know Raheem Sterling isn't because for the past 2 years, as an example, he's been England's best player with completely different teammates, with a completely different style, and a completely different manager. The fact he's done it internationally, and he, one of the best players at the Euros last year, to be good in 2 separate teams, for me shows that he's not a system player. To be the best player in the Euros, one of England's best players consistently for 2, 3, 4 years now, and to be doing it regularly for a Pep Guardiola team is because he's a top-class football player. And I believe he'll do brilliantly at Chelsea. I really, really do.
Can I make one more statement about just the last statement, Monique? I'd believe that if Roman Abramovich was still owner of Chelsea, I don't think Chelsea will be getting these players because mainly these players or Bowley is listening to what Thomas Tuchel wants. While mainly the Abramovich approach was mainly for the big name signings, like Lukaku. I don't think Tuchel really wanted Lukaku. I think he wanted Haaland last season, and I think his hand was forced into Lukaku. But it's really good what Bowley's doing at Chelsea. And as a rival, I'm a little bit jealous because everyone expected Chelsea to be in the mud, but Bowley has gone after bringing back Nathan Ake. Koulibaly now the deal is agreed and is having a medical, and Raheem Sterling. So I mean, Chelsea are filling in the gaping holes. I mean, they're upgrading the players from last season with Marcos Alonso, Azpilicueta. I mean, Ake and Koulibaly are definite upgrades, but I mean, it's a one month until the Premier League season starts, and it's interesting to see how all of the big 6 do because all of them are drastically improving and moving in the right direction. There's no one, bar Liverpool. I think Liverpool is the only side that's moving backwards, but everyone else is moving forwards. That's the only thing I don't need.
Samuel, great call, my friend. Thanks for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate it, mate. Thank you. Take care, my guy. Smoker settings here says Arsenal were on a bender. Martin. Oh, okay. Sorry. I wasn't ready for what I was going to say there. There we go. Redneck Alex is on. Chelsea fan. What you saying now?
Big up, Terry. Long time. I know, didn't speak to you. Yeah, long time.
What are you here to say?
Well, I would like to answer Igal first for his comments. Previously, I was here when he said it. We're not shopping in the same pod. We're not shopping in the same stores. We're shopping in the different areas. You shop where you shop, and we shop where we shop. If you think that what's his name is the overrated defender, That's just shame on you, man. That's just shame on you. By the way, Koulibaly is one of my targets that I actually wanted for a couple of years. For me, he was the prime example that actually how is the defender supposed to be, and he will fit right in. I will give him maybe a couple of games to get to the Premier League, of course, because it's a different kinds of step. But Sterling, I'm excited, but I'm not overly excited because Chelsea needs to find the solution to create all those chances for Sterling. We create chances, but we need a little bit more to the level, to the amount for Sterling to be. He's a great at direct, just going direct against the directness of him. It's what I like about him. I like when player goes directly against the opposition. That's what I want from him, and it's a good signing. And to answer your comment earlier, that like you asked about, is it enough 47 million for Man United target? Since when did 40 million became as like too expensive for the clubs to buy a player? when did I miss something? Because I thought like when you pay 70 or 80, that's a lot. I understand that's a lot. But when did 40 became too much? Like if we get in Sterling for 40 to 45, how much did City pay for him? They paid 50, if I remember correctly. Plus,
a long
we
time
getting
ago,
him in prime age.
Yeah, listen, I think that it's been weird this year because anything between sort of 20 and 45, 50 million in the last 3 to 4 years hasn't been considered big. It's been 50 millions plus. This year, people are trying to rewrite that. Too much money for Koulibaly, too much money for Lisandro, too much money for Raheem Sterling. And I'm like, I don't know. Like Liverpool just signed a very good striker, though, for like 70, 80 odd million pounds. Like,
Exactly.
Raheem Sterling right now is better than Darwin Núñez. Different position, but better. And he's almost half the price. I don't really understand the issue people have. But look, that's just people for you, I think, my friend.
Arsenal pay for Ben White 50? Didn't like the numbers are the craziness about it. Like when you're saying it 50 and it's like cheap. Oh, we got Ben White, it's on cheap. He's young talent, blah blah blah. And you get Sterling, the guy won pretty much everything in England. And you're saying that he's overrated. I agree, he's not everybody's cup of tea, but he still improves Chelsea's forward.
Of course he does. It's as you say, it's people just fishing, really. As you say, like Ben White cost 50 million, and at the time I said I think he was worth it. I think he's very, very good. He's the same age as Lisandro Martinez, who's costing less than that. But suddenly Lisandro Martinez is an overpriced, overrated. He's an Argentinian international, Champions League proven. Somebody from the academy, somebody from the Ajax team, and I'm not going to overly hype the Eredivisie. We know it isn't the strongest league in Europe, but he's translated his ability elsewhere. Listen, Alex, I really appreciate the call, my friend. Thank you very much indeed, my bro.
Quick one. You said that who's United is going to be finishing it top 4. I think people always asking the wrong question. It's not about the teams that can get to top 4. Who you think is going to make worse in the season from those top 4 teams? Liverpool or Manchester City? Who can drop the positions? City bought the player that they usually don't play with, and the guy is completely different striker than what what's his name likes to play. Same as Klopp. He bought himself a striker that doesn't use to the system they used to play. If those two drop points, Chelsea can improve on that and get the first spot, or even Tottenham. Man United can slip in. This is the way you'll have to look at it.
I hear you, my friend. Alex, top man, great call, good opinion. Speak to you soon. Cheers, my guy. Thank you.